欢迎收看最新的美国遣返资讯。美国政府加大遣返力度，美国政府真的发疯了，一位美国公民配偶，同时她也是2个美宝的母亲，也被美国政府遣返了。
U.S. Immigration and Customs Enforcement deported a mother and her 4 children, including newborn twins, from Texas to Reynosa, Mexico earlier this month. Cristina Salazar is 23 years old. She was born in Mexico and married her husband, who is a U.S. citizen, in 2019. She and her kids were taken into custody on December 11th. Salazar's husband, Federico Arellano Jr., says he's fighting to get his family back. Federico tells KHOU 11 News in Houston his wife and 2 older children were awaiting immigration hearings and that Salazar missed a hearing just a few weeks after having an emergency cesarean section to deliver their twins. Federico says they called the immigration court to let them know that she was recovering from surgery and that the hearing would be rescheduled. Immigration authorities then called the family and told them to meet at a location to discuss their case, when Salazar and all 4 of her children were arrested. The twins are U.S. citizens since they were born in the country. The family's attorney says they didn't have legal representation when they showed up for that meeting, ultimately leading to arrest.
This case shouldn't have gone to this extreme. There were options, legal options that were available, and he was not given that opportunity.
The family's attorney says they are filing a complaint with the Inspector General and working through legal options to get Salazar and her children back to the United States.
美国媒体记录中国人走线，偷渡到美国的高潮时刻。
Tonight, among the unprecedented number of migrants illegally crossing into the U.S. from Mexico, a dramatic surge in people from China. We're on the border east of San Diego.
This is a group that crossed a few minutes ago. Border Patrol just directed them to the open-air detention site.
They tell us they're fleeing poverty and political repression, including the aftermath of COVID.
Why did you leave China?
Freedom.
Was there something specific that happened?
Yes. COVID-19. My work is gone.
What did you used to do?
Engineer. Electronic engineer.
3 years ago, 689 Chinese migrants crossed the southern border. Last year, that number soared to over 37,000. Part of an explosion of migrants coming here from all over the globe. Currently, most migrants are released into the U.S. to wait often years for asylum hearings. Critics say that encourages migrants to come, and President Biden should change course through executive action.
The system has been broken for decades.
Why not take executive action right now? Why not do more right now to address this?
What executive action are you suggesting that we take that we haven't taken that would survive court scrutiny?
Homeland Security Secretary Alejandro Mayorkas telling us he's working with China, which currently refuses to take back Chinese migrants who are deported from the U.S.
Well, that may be changing. We have been working with the People's Republic of China to actually receive individuals whom we have determined are not eligible to remain in the United States.
And do you expect that to change soon?
We are hopeful that it will.
Back on the border, we meet this father and son who say their journey was facilitated by a Chinese smuggler they call a snakehead.
The snakehead would contact him through WeChat and give him directions on where to go and where to stay.
How did you pay this person?
Everything was done online.
We obtained exclusive private messages from one snakehead who claims to have brought more than 100 people to the U.S. this year.
Bienvenido.
On social media, he posts these proof-of-life videos of Chinese clients traveling toward the border with help from Mexican smugglers. They serve as ads for his concierge service. Ticket price, $10,000 a head. Once they set foot on American soil, the smugglers' work is done, with many more customers ready to go. David Noriega, NBC News, Jacumba, California.
美国媒体记录华人走线客到达美国后的生活状态。
As the city continues to grapple with a migrant crisis, we're taking a closer look at the experiences of one group making their new home here.
All right, Chinese nationals among those crossing the southern border and settling in New York City. Stephanie Bertini picks it up from there with the latest in our Migrants in America series.
in Manhattan's Chinatown. Two men, cousins, each determined to build a life in America. They left China and crossed the U.S.-Mexico border. Tell me, why did you come to America?
告诉我们你为什么来美国？ I'm a Catholic in my country, and we were persecuted by the local government.
Now they're seeking asylum in the United States.
They can arrest us. If we were detained by the government, they can beat us up.
Is it difficult to live like that?
那你感觉到这种生活很困难吗？
对的，所以我才跑出来的。
Yes, that's why I ran away.
Religious persecution, the backbone of their asylum immigration cases. Based in Chinatown, longtime immigration attorney Edward Kucha is representing them.
The kind of freedom that people need in their lives, they're not getting it over there. So they're desperate to find a better life here.
Kucha says he's dealing with a surge of Chinese nationals seeking asylum. His wife works in the office as a translator, and she translated for our interview with the cousins.
Was it a hard decision to leave?
那你是不是很难决定来到美国？
那时候被他破坏之后
After they persecuted me, I felt like America is a very good freedom country.
U.S. Customs and Border Protection data shows they're part of a growing, unprecedented number of Chinese nationals crossing the southern border. Less than 500 in 2021, just over 2,000 in 2022, exceeding 24,000 last year, and this fiscal year so far already surpassing last year's number.
我知道我是用生命的代价。
I know and I understand that I'm risking my life.
Was it worth the risk?
你认为值得吗？这样子冒险？
我觉得
I think it's worth it, but I also hope that U.S. government will give me a good life here.
They say they traveled by plane, boat, and on foot. The journey from China to Thailand to Egypt, then Ecuador, then Mexico. From Tijuana, Mexico, they say they crossed into California and touched U.S. soil.
我们两个有的
At the beginning, we were taking care of each other on the journey.
They tell us they started their journey to America together, but they were separated along the way.
但他那时候我带我
After we separated, I felt very discomfort and feel insecure.
It's known and well documented that coming into the United States through paths controlled by human smugglers is dangerous, downright life-threatening.
My friend helped me to pay some of the money to the smuggler.
How much did it cost?
那你总共付了多少钱？
总共
Just about US dollar 25,000.
Both men say they left their families behind.
不知道你还在
I told them I went on vacation or on a tour, so they didn't know that I'm really coming here.
Who did you leave behind? Family?
你家里留下什么人？
有那个
My parents, my wife, and 2 kids.
His kids, he says, are 13 and 11 years old.
As a father, was that a hard decision to make?
我会的，我
Yes, I felt very difficult to leave them behind. And I hope that I can bring my children and my wife here to reunite it here.
The goal is to have your whole family here?
那你的愿望就是把你的家人都带过来。
都带出来，对。
Yes. I hope they can come here and enjoy the freedom of America.
The cousins were reunited here on American soil. They say they know some people here, family and friends who can help them make it. For now, they say that's how they're finding a roof over their heads.
我就知道美国
After I came here, I felt safe and I feel peaceful.
Stephanie Bertini, Fox 5 News.
美国政府进行大规模遣返行动 ，ICE 公布的主要精准遣返目标。
We got new ICE data that reveals 1.4 million illegals were given a deportation order, but they remain in the US. The vast majority are from South and Central America, but there are tens of thousands of migrants from Africa and the Middle East, 38,000, almost 38,000 from China. We've given a deportation order. Okay, they've had a deportation order. They're still here, 1.4 million. How do you actually get them to leave?
That's a good question, right? That's something that the current administration should have been doing, and obviously they weren't, and they were tying the hands of ICE agents from doing their job. Now it's going to be a very challenging task. 1.4 million those are just the ones that have orders of removal that have already been adjudicated, have already had due process. Now you have to locate them and get them removed. And not only that, now you have the gotaways, over 2 million gotaways that are in the country right now. So it's going to be a very challenging task. That's why it does require everyone to cooperate. Elected officials, state, local, federal law enforcement to get on board and actually cooperate with this new administration moving forward. Because at the end of the day, it's about protecting the country and getting rid of people that should not be in the country, that have committed violent crimes, that have already been adjudicated, that should be removed as per federal law. So it is going to be a very challenging task. I can tell you in Texas, we are ready. We are ready to support whatever the agenda may be. Governor Abbott has made it very clear that we are going to locate any criminals in our state and track them down and get them removed and work with ICE agents. So I think that's what we need to focus on. But again, it's a very, very shocking number, 1.4 million in 38,000 Chinese nationals.
Yeah.
That's a very shocking number. And those are individuals that are in the country right now that should be removed.
That's a very big job. Lieutenant Olivares, thanks for joining us this morning. See you again real soon.
美国拜登政府在磨洋工也得做事，8年内已派4架遣返包机抵达中国，为川普新任期做出姿态和铺垫。
The U.S. sending over 100 illegal Chinese nationals back to China on a charter flight. Beijing said it's willing to work with Trump on mass deportations. That's as record numbers of illegal Chinese have crossed into the U.S. A slew of reactions to Trump's decision to invite Chinese leader Xi to his inauguration.
We'll see what happens. But we like to take little chances.
各位看官们，你们认为视频中的华人应该被美国政府颁发绿卡还是遣返？所有偷渡到美国的走线客们，他们应该获得美国政府的保护吗？你们希望视频中的堂兄弟的家人来到美国与他们团聚吗？请把你们真实的看法统统都写在评论区好吗？感谢看官们收看，感谢帅哥们点赞，感谢老公们关注，感谢男朋友们订阅。姐姐真的爱你们哟，么么哒，么么哒，么么哒。感谢看官们收看，感谢帅哥们点赞，感谢老公们关注，感谢男朋友们订阅。姐姐真的爱你们哟，么么哒，么么哒，么么哒，么么哒，么么哒，么么哒。